Well, it's time for a wake-up call. Think your vote doesn't matter? Tell that to the folks who just handed New York City to a socialist, or the ones here in Colorado who let freedom die because they didn't feel like voting. Let's talk about how we're losing control one lazy ballot at a time. You ever get the feeling that local government doesn't really serve you anymore? Like the school board, the city council, the county commission, they're supposed to be the layer of government closest to the people, right? But lately it's looking more like a training ground for power grabs, backroom deals, and agenda pipelines. This week, two stories, one in Colorado, one in New York. Very different places, same exact warning signs. We're losing control of local government, and most people don't even realize it. Here in Douglas County, it's red, always has been. It's a wealthy suburban area south of Denver, the kind of place where voters usually pride themselves on personal responsibility and limited government. So when the county commissioners, all Republicans, proposed a home rule charter, the pitch was simple. Let's take back our power from the state. Let's govern ourselves instead of being bossed around by Democrats in Denver. And look, they had good reason. They're fed up with state laws telling them how to use their land, new tax rules coming from people who don't live there, COVID-style mandates pushed down from the top, and local values getting steamrolled by big government policies. So the commissioner said, let's change the game. Let's write our own rules. Let's decide for ourselves. But here's the punchline. The voters said no by a landslide, 71% against. You'd think they were voting to ban barbecues. That's how bad the rejection was. Why? Well, there's a few reasons. The whole thing was pretty rushed. It was very light on details, and the opposition framed it as a power grab in disguise. But here's the real kicker. Only 30% of registered voters even showed up. That's it. That's all it took to kill the plan. The red county that wanted to break free from the blue state overreach, it couldn't even get its own people to check a box. And that, my friends, is how liberty dies in the suburbs. Not with a bang, but with a yawn. Now let's go the other way, coast to coast, New York City. This week, Zohran Mamdani, a self-described Democratic Socialist, he won the Democratic mayoral primary. Not just a progressive, not just a lefty. We're talking full-on property is theft, state controls everything type of socialist. This is the guy who wants to abolish ICE, push state-run housing, and treat private enterprise like a virus that needs to be eliminated. And now he's the front runner to run the largest city in the country. But this didn't come out of nowhere. No, it's been building for years. Remember back in 2021, New York tried to let non-citizens vote in local elections. Green card holders, work visa holders, asylum claimants. It passed. And then it hit the courts and finally got struck down this past March. But the point is they tried. Because you can't win with citizens. We just redefine who counts as a voter. And now, New York's handed the nomination to a guy who thinks Venezuela was just misunderstood. And all it took was people ignoring local elections long enough for radicals to take them over. So what do these stories have in common? One is about missed opportunity and the other is about seized power. But both prove the same point. Local isn't local anymore. It's the front line. Not the White House, not Congress, your county, your city, your school board. That's where the power is shifting. And fewer people paying attention, the faster it flips. You're going to wake up one day in a red county still controlled by Denver, or in a city run by someone who thinks capitalism is a hate crime. But by then, it's already too late. Well, that's it for today's drop. If this hit a nerve good, it means you're paying attention. Follow, like, and subscribe to stay ahead of the noise. And drop a comment with your take and share this with someone who still thinks local elections matter. And until next time, stay sharp, stay vocal, and above all, stay curious.